This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to welcome you. Remember to turn on your mic. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Warrenville City Council regular meeting for September 7th, 2021. In accordance with Governor Pritzker's disaster proclamation, Section 7E of the Illinois Open Meetings Act, 5 ILCS 120/7(e), and the determination by the mayor of the city of Warrenville, this meeting will be held virtually. Although public attendance is not limited at this time, persons wishing to provide public comment are strongly encouraged to submit written comments via email at info@warrenville.il.us by 5 p.m. the day of the meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Brummel,
Here.
Alderman Anderson,
Here.
Alderman Ashauer,
Here.
Alderman Berry,
Here.
Alderman Davalos,
Here.
Alderman Goodman,
Here.
Alderman Krischel,
Here.
Alderman Widener,
He's on the screen.
you see him? Alderman Widener, can you hear us?
Here.
There we
Thank
go.
you. Alderman Wilson,
Here.
City Clerk here, City Treasurer Ann Behrens. No. City Attorney Brooke Linneman,
Here.
City Administrator John Coakley,
Here.
Assistant City Administrator Christina White,
Here.
Police Chief Ray Turano,
Here.
Finance Director Kevin Dahlstrand,
Here.
Community and Economic Development Director Ron Menzer,
I'm filling in for him. This is Christine Hocking, Senior Civil Engineer.
oh, thank you very much. Public
you,
Works
Christine.
Director Phil Kukler,
Here.
thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this is our citizens' comment opportunity for this evening. We have one person in person, Bob Siebert. Would you like to go to the mic, Bob?
Bob Siebert, Albright Court. The design and execution of the Cantera Financial Agreement is probably the City of Warrenville's greatest achievement. Why? Because that city council drew the line in the sand before the agreement was written. That city council stated not a dime of taxpayers' funds would be placed at risk. In other words, the developer would pay for all improvements up front. Promissory notes would be issued after completion of the improvements, but only paid for from TIF revenues when available. The developer expected all TIF revenue, but that city council would only yield 50%, so that the public improvements in TIF 2 could begin once the TIF revenue began to flow. Thus, the citizens could see an immediate benefit. To motivate the developer, an 8% interest rate was added to the promissory notes. Now there was a financial benefit to build office buildings for BP's own employees. The developer could now move money from their right pocket to their left pocket. That city council also obtained a $1.5 million developer donation for a new city hall, this city hall we are in. But that was increased to 3 million plus by loaning the funds to the TIF and being paid back with interest. And all of this was accomplished with only two people, Jim Connors, the first city administrator, and Barry Moss, the hired city attorney. But it was the placement of the citizens' welfare above the developers that made this the greatest achievement.
Thank you, Bob. Do we have any email comments this evening? No?
There are none.
Okay, and do we have anybody online who would like to make a comment at this point? Please identify yourself and speak up. Okay, hear anybody? We'll move along then to official staff comments, beginning with the mayor. 3 things this evening. First, in reference to tonight's meeting, until further notice, the city council will meet remotely due to the resurgence of COVID-19 and the governor's recent mask mandate requiring face coverings regardless of vaccination status. Remote meetings are allowed in accordance with Public Act PA 101-0640 during the governor's current disaster proclamation. A couple of other things, the Mayor's Fitness Challenge t-shirts. Normally at this time, the city would recognize the winners and participants of the Mayor's Fitness Challenge and a group photo would be taken. However, due to the ongoing emergency associated with the COVID-19 pandemic and the council's return to virtual meetings, it is not practical to invite the public in for a group photo at this time. T-shirts and award certificates can be picked up at the finance department window at City Hall during normal business hours. That would be downstairs. And I personally thank all of you who participated and for your continued efforts to encourage citizens to keep fit and winning in Warrenville. And finally, the Warrenville Fire Protection District, the VFW, and the city invite public to join us in honoring and remembering those who responded to the call of duty and lost their lives in the events of 9/11. This special ceremony will take place Saturday, September 11th at 8 a.m. at the Warrenville Fire Department on Batavia Road. The schedule of events will include a flag raising, pledge of allegiance, an invocation by a local pastor, words of remembrance by Mayor Brummel, Chief Toronto, Fire Chief Dana, and others, a wreath laying ceremony, bell ringing, and a rifle salute. So everyone is invited. That's all I had for this evening. Clerk.
I have nothing.
Thank you. And we'll go through the aldermen to see if they have anything to add at this point, beginning with Alderman Anderson. Good evening, Alderman.
Good evening. I have no comments tonight.
Thank you. Alderman Ashauer.
No comments, thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Alderman Berry.
I have no comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Davalos.
I have no comments tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Goodman.
Nothing from me.
Thank you. Alderman Krischel.
No comment, thanks.
Very good. Alderman Widener.
It's unanimous, no comment. Thank you.
Not yet. We got one more. The pressure's on. Alderman Wilson.
Okay, no comments.
All right. Very good. Thank you all.
Mr. Mayor?
The Alderman City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder to everyone with the remote meeting format, if you could mute between, if you're not talking, so we can minimize background noise. We had a little bit going on in the earlier part of the meeting, and sometimes there's something else going on at your home or wherever you're calling in from, and it just helps for the recording and to be able to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, John. City Attorney Lenneman.
No comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Brummel?
Yes,
I had one thing, if I may, please.
absolutely, Chief.
Thank you very much. On September 18th, just to make the community aware, we're having another shredding day for your paper recyclables and also electronic disposal for your electronic items. The information is posted up on our website. It'll be from 9 a.m. till noon on September 18th, or until the trucks are full, which last time they were, and unfortunately we had to turn some people away, but it'll be down at Bauer School. And if you will go to the city website or the Facebook page, you'll be able to pre-purchase a sticker for the larger electronic items that you want to have recycled. So again, September 18th, 9 a.m. to noon, come see us at Bauer School, and you can get rid of all that scrap paper and the old electronic items that you have responsibly. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Great event. Okay, let's move on to the approval of the agenda this evening. Alderman Meidner, would you like to make that motion?
I move to approve the agenda for the September 7th, 2021 City Council regular meeting.
Second, Alderman Davalos.
Second by Alderman. Any comments on that before we move on? Okay, well, we have to take a roll call. We're back to that. Roll call, please.
Alderman Anderson.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Krischel.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Thank you. The minutes are, the agenda is approved for this evening. We have one set of minutes that needs approval also. Alderman Widener.
Thank you. I move to approve the minutes of the August 16th, 2021 City Council regular meeting.
Second, Alderman
Davalos.
Okay, Alderman Ashour or Davalos, whichever one you heard first. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of those minutes? Please identify yourself and speak up. Hearing none, we have another roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Krischel.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Anderson.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Julie. The consent agenda for this evening, item 6A, accept staff recommendation and pass resolution R2021-51, designating Freedom of Information Act officers and Open Meetings Act designees. B, accept Mayor Brummel's recommendation and approve the appointment of Brian Owens to fill the Tourism and Arts Commission vacancy for a term expiring April 30th, 2024. C, accept staff recommendation and adjust the starting pay for crossing guards to $12 per crossing and authorize the city administrator to adjust current crossing guard pay rates accordingly. D, receive and file minutes of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners meeting held on June 22nd, 2021. E, receive and file minutes of the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Awareness Commission meeting held on July 20th, 2021. F, receive and file report of invoices paid up to September 1st, 2021 in the amount of $46,748.67. And G, authorize expenditures for invoices due on or before September 20th, 2021 in the amount of $281,779.12. May I have a motion, please?
Alderman Widener moves to approve the agenda as presented by Mayor David Brummel.
Second, Alderman Wilson.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Anderson.
Aye.
Alderman Krischel.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The motion carries and the consent agenda has been approved for this evening. We'll move on to the regular agenda, item 7A. Would someone make that motion, please?
This is Alderman Barry. I'd like to make a motion to accept staff recommendation, waive second reading, and pass ordinance O2021-34, allowing video gaming and creating a video gaming terminal license and a new liquor license classification with local restrictions.
Second, Alderman Ashour.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We've had significant discussion of this recently and a number of years ago, but I would like to give everyone one last chance if they have something to say on this item. So we'll go through the aldermen and give everyone a chance to be heard one last time, beginning with Alderman Anderson.
I have no additional comments or questions.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Ashour.
I'd just like to say I appreciate the effort that's gone into the modification of the ordinance, and I appreciate that effort and I support it.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Barry.
I agree with Alderman Ashour. This has been a lot of work. Appreciate all the staff time, and I am definitely in favor of this.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Davalos.
Yes, I have a question of staff and then I have a comment. My question is one of the biggest things I saw that we changed from the last meeting was I guess the terminal fee that we decided to have it cheaper at $1,000 the first year and $2,000 subsequent years. But I see that is reversed. So is there justification for that or a thought on that from staff why that was changed?
Okay, City Administrator Coakley.
I'm sorry, I missed the one key word in your question because there was a noise in the room, right as you said. The change to reduce the cost of the video gaming terminal fee, and you said was something, and I'm sorry I missed that word.
Yeah, I think when we left the last meeting, we talked about having the first year be the cheaper year, and then subsequent years when businesses were collecting money from video gambling, then they could pay a higher fee of $2,000. I'm fine to change it. It's just one of the things that was different from the last time we talked, and I just wondered what the thought process was on that.
Okay, I think what you're referring to is actually the Class V liquor license, which the council requested to be reduced. So the first year for that is $1,000 and the renewals are $2,000. That was the one that was reduced.
Oh, was that the one?
Video
Okay,
gaming terminal
okay.
fee is $1,000
So
time.
we kept the liquor the same that we've always had.
Well,
yes.
If I could speak.
Brooke, go ahead, please.
Lenneman. What was changed in the Class V license fee was that it was originally $1,000 for the initial fee and $1,000 for the renewal, and there was direction for it to be $1,000 for the initial and $2,000 for the renewal. So that was updated.
Thank you. Okay, I misspoke then. That's exactly what we decided. Okay, so I just had a couple of comments. I've made some of these before, so I won't take a lot of time. You know, there was an article last week in the Herald, and which I thought was very unbiased and very clear. But one of the things that created more transparency than I had expected, which was great, is that the reporter called this video gambling. He did not call it video gaming. And I thought that was great because, again, I think we need to be clear that this is definitely gambling. I think all of the council knows that, but for the public, this is slots and blackjack and video poker, and the money that goes into it is not just a small fee to play a game. It's actually the gambling. And I think I always just want to make that point. The other point is, and I know it was tried and we couldn't come up with a lot of reasons that, except for really Aurora, maybe part of North Aurora, all the towns that actually are contiguous to us are not doing this. So in this part of DuPage County, we are the only ones. And I always wondered and will continue to wonder. I think it's more than just the character of the town. I think there are other reasons these cities are not embracing video gambling. And I think part of what if I could guess, it would be what happened to us, is that for the amount of money that we are making, the kind of staff time that's probably going to be required and has already been required is going to use that money up quite quickly. And I think that the police, even though they are looking for underage cigarettes and liquor, will be having to keep track of underage gambling. And I just think it's another thing to think about. I'm not saying that's a reason not to have it. I'm just saying there's a lot more staff time, I think, than we've really talked about. And some of the towns, like you go to Aurora, and you know that if you want to gamble, you go to Aurora, you go to the boats. And I just never wanted Warrenville to be the town you go to gambling also. And so I think in light of all of that, and in my concern for staff time, and being the only community in our area doing this, I will be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Goodman.
Thank you. I want to say first that I think the city attorney did a good job modifying the draft to reflect the consensus of the council, as far as I can tell. I know a lot of details are in this, and so I just want to congratulate Attorney Lenneman for her legal work. But since there are so many people on this call who may not have been at our meetings before, I want to reiterate very briefly the objections that other Warrenville residents have raised with me to this project. First of all, slot machines are gambling, not games. Having them in Warrenville is not a very Warrenville thing to do, according to many of the Warrenville residents who have spoken to me about it. This is not the public face of our town that we want to show the world. Secondly, addiction is a real thing, and studies show that this is one of the most addictive forms of gambling. I hope that you all actually took a look at the email that came in this past week to everyone on the council from the Illinois Church Action on Alcohol and Addiction Problems about this ban. They emphasized, and I think this is something that perhaps we haven't discussed specifically, that we only get our revenue based on every dollar lost in the video gambling machine. So in other words, just assuming that the roughly $50,000 projected revenue is our nickel share, that means that residents will have to lose $1 million a year in these slot machines for us to get that revenue. That's sort of mind-boggling when you think about it, the amount of money coming out of our residents' pockets, and we're talking about it in terms of trying to generate revenue. There's got to be a better way to get some revenue. So that's my very concise summary of the reasons to oppose this plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Krischel.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had one question. I'm still not sold on the food restriction, but I understand the reasoning behind wanting to have that designated or specified. In the memo, it states that based on the staff's research of the current operations, all of the establishments that expressed interest in having this, with the exemption of the VFW, would meet this meal serving requirement. Are we clear on that?
City Administrator Coakley.
Alderman, are you referring to the attorney's memo?
Yes.
Okay, I believe that is correct, but I would defer to the attorney.
Okay.
City Attorney Lenneman.
Well, staff did research the operations of each of the entities that had expressed interest and determined the extent to which they serve food at each location. And based on that research, except for the VFW, they would all meet this definition.
Okay, then, yeah, I mean, I would hate to pass an ordinance and then one of the establishments who is interested in this would not be qualified because of some,
Right.
you know, food. Okay, so as long as we're good with that, then.
Right. And just to clarify, the VFW is or the Class C license, which is the type of license that the VFW holds, is exempted from the food serving requirement.
Yep, okay, understood. Then, yeah, I know this is, we've discussed this at length, and I think, you know, Mary, you had mentioned when we first started, you know, discussing this again, if it's done correctly, I think it could be successful, and I think this process has shown that I think we can do it the right way. So I appreciate all the time that's gone into that, and I fully support this.
Thank you, Alderman. Okay, we'll move on to Alderman Widener.
Yes, I been in contact with some of the other business owners that have no interest in the video gambling, and they too believe that it could affect the character of Warrenville and see it as a potential detriment. And then after reviewing the very real statistics on gambling and its addictions, I am calling my support for this, and I'm going to vote against the idea of video gambling. I don't think it fits in with the character of Warrenville, and I think it's to the detriment of many individuals who choose to gamble. And I guess I don't want to be supportive of that with my vote. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Wilson.
I'm in favor of this. We've discussed it a long time, and I don't think that we're in a situation we can legislate individuals' actions to things of choices that they make. So I'm in favor of this. A lot of work has been going into it, and I think it would be fine. So I move the question.
Okay, everyone has been heard yet again. So may I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Widener,
Nay.
Alderman Ashour,
Aye.
Alderman Anderson,
Aye.
Alderman Berry,
Aye.
Alderman Davalos,
Nay.
Alderman Krischel,
Aye.
Alderman Goodman,
Nay.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll move on to item 7B. Would someone like to make that motion, please?
This is Alderman Berry. I'd like to make a motion to pass resolution R2021-52, approving an amended policy concerning electronic attendance at City Council Committee, Plan Commission, and Zoning Board of Appeal meetings to allow email notification.
Second, Alderman Goodman.
Okay, motion and a second. Who would like to introduce this? Explain it to the public? City Administrator Coakley made eye contact. Big mistake.
Thank you. Yeah, so a few weeks ago, this was raised. I believe Alderman Goodman actually asked about whether we could simplify the notice provision and make it available by email. That certainly made sense. So we proceeded, staff worked with their city attorney. It is allowed by law. It just wasn't written into our original policy because we didn't anticipate that happening. So now, as long as you, if somebody is attending remotely, we use Alderman Anderson as an example. And once everyone is back in person for in-person meetings, right now everyone is remote under that exemption of the Open Meetings Act. So this rule doesn't actually apply tonight and may not for a few weeks. But once we're back in person, anyone wants to attend remotely, any alderman or any planning commission member for a planning commission meeting, or even the mayor, elected officials of the city, could simply notify the clerk according to the policy. Substantially in the form that is part of that policy would have to be in the email, but it could be done by email instead of having to print out the form, sign the form, and then find a place to scan or fax the form back or something. So it simply simplifies the process. guess that says it all. Thank you.
All right, very good. We'll see if anyone has questions or comments, beginning in with Alderman Anderson.
No questions or comments.
Thank you, Alderman Ashauer.
No questions or comments.
Thank you, Alderman Berry.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Davalos.
No questions, Mayor. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you, Alderman Goodman.
My thanks to staff for following up on my suggestion.
Thank you for the suggestion and for the comment. Alderman Grishel.
No questions, thanks.
Very good. Alderman Widener.
No questions. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Alderman Wilson.
No comment.
Okay, I guess we're ready for a roll call.
Alderman Chrisell,
Aye.
Alderman Goodman,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Anderson,
Aye.
Alderman Widener,
Aye.
Alderman Ashauer,
Aye.
Alderman Davalos,
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. We have nothing under unfinished business. We have nothing listed under new business. We have no need for a closed session, but we do need one final motion. Who would like to make it?
Alderman Goodman, I move to adjourn.
And second by?
Second by Alderman Ashauer.
All right, we have a motion and a second. One last roll call for this evening, please, Julie.
Alderman Davalos,
Aye.
Alderman Berry,
Aye.
Alderman Goodman,
Aye.
Alderman Ashauer,
Aye.
Alderman Anderson,
Aye.
Alderman Widener,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Chrisell.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned. Thank you for your attendance and your attention this evening, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, everyone.